Merhaba, merhaba. Hoş geldiniz. How is everyone doing today? Welcome. Thank you for joining me. My name is Adam. I'm a recruitment officer at the University of Toronto. Apologize for the delay. There's some technical issues, I think, on my end because I'm no good at these things. I only use Zoom. So this one was different, but thank you. And again, I apologize for the delay. So thank you for joining us today. What will happen is I'll give a very general overview of the university and then open it up to any questions that you have at the end of the presentation. I hope that is okay with everyone, and we will get started. So, University of Toronto is Canada's top university and largest university as well. And what makes it the top university is the fact that you can do, as you can see here, is the top research university. So that means that we attract top faculty from all around the world. So when you have faculty that are coming from all over, it's because our university does a lot of research, and these professors want to teach where their research will be funded and supported. So that's what we're known for. We also have a very strong legacy of discovery and innovation. So discoveries like the world's first nerve transplant, stem cell research began at U of T, and insulin was discovered at the University of Toronto. We also have famous alumni like Malcolm Gladwell, Margaret Atwood, Academy Award winners, Olympic athletes. So the university has a very strong tradition and history. And because of that, again, #1 in Canada, top 20 in the world. So we have this excellent reputation. So what that means is that your degree is portable. You can go back to Turkey, you can go anywhere in the world, and people know who we are and how we rank as one of the world's premier research universities. So the degree has that name recognition, that portability anywhere you want to go in the world. And U of T continues to make an impact both globally and locally. So locally here, our university researchers are working hard to find a vaccine for this pandemic, of course. But even globally or locally in Turkey, at the new airport, Istanbul Airport, when I was there last year, I saw signs when I was waiting for my bag that said Nanoleaf light panels. And the Nanoleaf is the world's most energy efficient light bulb. And that light bulb was invented by 3 U of T students. So it was very interesting for me to be in Turkey in this beautiful new airport and see powered by Nanoleaf technology. So that is an example of how U of T has an impact even in your home of Istanbul. So U of T is a unique network of communities in the heart of one of the most dynamic regions in the world. And of course, that is the city of Toronto. So if you haven't visited Toronto, it's a very diverse city. That means that half the population have been born outside of Canada and speak a language other than English. So you will be studying with people from all around the world. As I said, half of the city has been born outside of Toronto. So with that diversity, of course, there's many cultural festivals, great restaurants, shopping, live music, museums, cinema, theater, sports, of course. Toronto Raptors are the NBA champions. So this time last year, they were almost about to win the championship in the NBA. So our city really rallied around the team, and it was a very exciting time when they were winning the championship. So those are just some examples. But again, the city has something for everyone. And Toronto is Canada's largest city, but it's smaller than population in Istanbul. You'll notice that as well, not as crowded. And we have the 4th largest transit system in North America as well. So it is easy to get around the city, especially when it's colder, because of course, we're in Canada, so it can get cold. But if you dress appropriately, you can handle the Canadian winter, and you have access to that public transit as well. So the university is actually older than the city. We were founded in 1827. And once the university was built, the city grew around it. So it is really a landmark of Toronto. If you Google things to do as a tourist, taking a campus tour is one of the suggestions that you will find. Because again, it is a historical part of our city, very beautiful campus. Now, as I mentioned, we're the largest university in Canada as well. So that is a good thing, because when you're the largest, it means you have more choice. So choices for you inside and outside of the classroom. And even though we are the largest, it doesn't mean that all students are on one campus or studying in one faculty. Everyone is spread out. So it's not as big as some students might first think. And again, you have a lot of choices. So what's the first choice you get to make? Which campus you want to study at. Because at U of T, we have 3. And these are all located within 1 hour of each other. So you have St. George is the city center campus in the middle. And then half an hour west is Mississauga, half an hour east is Scarborough. 3 great campuses, 1 University of Toronto degree. So when you graduate, it's a U of T degree. It does not matter if you studied at Mississauga, St. George, or Scarborough. So same quality. And you'll find that arts, business, science is available at all 3 campuses as well. So what you want to study is offered at all 3. Then you choose the environment you want to study in. But then there's also unique programs that might only be offered at 1 campus. So that will help you to make your choice as well. So in terms of these campuses, Mississauga, as I mentioned, is half an hour west of the city center. This campus is mid-size with about 15,000 students, and it's located on over 225 acres of green parkland. So it's a very natural campus, lots of trees, lots of grass, very beautiful and very modern. Many of the buildings have been built within the last 5 to 10 years. So modern campus, very green, located half an hour outside of the city center, and it's mid-sized. Then we have St. George campus, which is our downtown campus, the founding campus of U of T. It has older buildings and new buildings. So you get that old history along with new modern buildings. And there's 35,000 students at the St. George campus. So it's a large urban campus right in the city center. And lastly, our Scarborough campus, which is a half an hour east of the city center. This is mid-sized with about 14,000 students. And Scarborough is similar to Mississauga. It's a very modern campus, also lots of trees as well. It's located on 300 acres of beautiful park space by the Highland Creek. So beautiful natural setting, very modern feel, and mid-sized, just a half an hour east of the city center. So all of our campuses, as I mentioned, offer you arts, business, and science programs. But then St. George also will offer the Faculty of Engineering, Architecture and Visual Studies, Kinesiology, and Music as well. Now, if you are interested in the St. George campus, specifically downtown Faculty of Arts and Science, we have a college system. So this is another way that we give students choice, but another way, more importantly, that we break down the size of the St. George campus. So because it's our largest campus by student population, these colleges are your residence, first and foremost. And when you apply, you get to indicate what your preference is for which type of residence you want to live in. So do you prefer a traditional dorm style that has a meal plan? Or maybe an apartment style where there's a kitchen and you can cook your own meals. So depending on your preference for where you'd like to live, you get to indicate this when you apply if you're interested in St. George Faculty of Arts and Science. In addition to where you sleep and eat, the college also serves as a smaller community. So there's social activities, there's clubs, there's sports, all offered within your college. So by being involved, you'll recognize a lot of the same faces and make a lot of your good friends within the college that you belong to. So again, just think of it as a smaller neighborhood that you're part of while on the larger St. George campus. But it has nothing to do with what you want to study. That's important to remember. When you do choose the college, your residence, we guarantee housing for all first-year students across all 3 campuses, I should say. But for St. George Arts and Science, this is the only one where you'll be asked to rank your top 3 choices. And again, it really just is a personal preference. It has nothing to do with what you want to study, just a smaller community that you're part of while on the downtown campus. Now, once you get to the university, we want to make sure that you do well, that you're happy, that you're supported, and you're reaching your full potential. So we have amazing support systems in place for our students. Things like Career Center, where you can find out about the job prospects in your field, perhaps learn about some internships or research opportunities. We have academic success centers where you can get support, help with your studies if you need it, of course. We have math labs, writing centers, peer mentors, learning strategists. All of these are in place for you to ensure, again, that you do well. And all of our professors also have office hours. So they are available to meet with you if you have questions about any of the assignments or course material, or maybe you just want to have a conversation about some of your goals and introduce yourself. These professors are available to you. And then, of course, when it comes to counseling, academic counseling, personal counseling, mental health is very important. So our university has put a lot of resources into that area. And our students take advantage of all of the support that we have. Again, bigger university means we have that much more. So much so that 91% of our students successfully go on from year 1 into year 2. Now, one of the best things about U of T also is the ability for you to mix and match your areas of study. So you can really personalize your degree. So we offer over 700 programs. That's the best selection in Canada. And the nice thing about having that many choices is you can mix and match your areas of study. So you are not limited. If you want to combine arts and science as a double major, you can do that. If you want to be an engineer and do a minor in music, that's an option as well. So in most cases, you don't actually declare your specialization or double major until after your first year. So that means you have time to figure things out if you're not sure, or you can change your mind. You're not locked into anything. So flexibility is key for us. And of course, with all of those choices, there's no shortage of different opportunities, and no 2 U of T students have the same academic experience because of all of those choices. So that's something you can look forward to. In terms of, I keep hearing a beep. So if you have questions, I won't be answering those until the end of the presentation, in case that's what the beep is, but I will try to answer as many questions as I can at the end of the presentation. In terms of arts, we have things like history, philosophy, drama. We offer over 50 different languages at the university. For business, Toronto is the financial capital of Canada. So our students have access to Bay Street, which is the Wall Street of Canada. So many opportunities there. And we have Toronto is the 3rd largest financial district in North America as well. So excellent opportunity for those interested in business. For science, we publish more scientific research than any other public university in North America. So an excellent place for those interested in science. If engineer is what you're after, then we have the largest and highest ranked faculty of engineering in Canada. There's 8 core programs you can apply to from high school that include things like computer engineering, mechanical, civil engineering. But we also have engineering science, which is a more rigorous program that combines the applied science, but also theory. And the first 2 years are general and engineering science, but then your last 2 years, you can branch off to very unique areas like aerospace, robotics, nanoengineering, for example. We also have a general first year called Track 1. So Track 1 is for those that know they want to be an engineer, but they're not 100% sure which stream specifically. So you can do the general year first and then decide which one of those core 8 you're interested in. And finally, we have architecture and visual studies, kinesiology, music. These are all offered on our downtown campus. So architecture, for those, of course, it's a foundation program, or visual studies if you're interested in fine art. Kinesiology is the study of human movement. So this allows students to have that science background, but also there's a focus on outdoor education, physical activity. Great program if you're thinking about sports medicine or maybe occupational physical therapy. And of course, music, one of our smallest faculties. You get one-on-one time with professors every week. And what better place to study music than in the heart of downtown Toronto? Now, in terms of what you can do outside of the classroom, large university means we have that much more to offer you. So we want you to be able to apply what you learn in the classroom to the real world. So for example, co-op. Many students are interested in co-op. Our Scarborough campus really specializes in co-op programs. So you get to go to school and work at the same time. These are paid jobs and they're all within the Greater Toronto area. So a great way for you to test drive a career, earn some money and see what it's like in that profession. So again, Scarborough really focuses on co-op. In areas like computer science and engineering and a little bit of business, we have the professional experience year co-op. So the difference from the PEY is it's a 1 year long minimum. So instead of going to school and paying tuition for a year, you're not in school, not paying any tuition, you are working full time. And the average salary for our engineering students is about 50,000 Canadian dollars. And 65% of the students that do that PEY co-op in engineering, they have a job offer before they even graduate. So it is one of the best co-op programs in North America because, again, a minimum 1 year, you earn a very good salary, and more than half of the students have jobs after they graduate. So that's an excellent opportunity to look out for, again, specifically in engineering and computer science. Otherwise, all programs will have various internships and externships that you could research to see if you're interested in. But something that's very important is research. As I mentioned at the beginning, that's a big part of our university. We attract top professors from all around the world because they want to continue their research. But you can work alongside these professors. As early as your second year, you can do research for credit while being supervised by one of these professors. So that's graduate level work that you can do as early as your second year. That looks really good on your resume as well. If Toronto is not diverse enough for you, or you want to go beyond Toronto, you absolutely can. We have the opportunity for students to go study in a different part of the world. So you're coming here as an international student, of course, but if you want to spend a summer in Europe or Asia, Australia, UK, wherever, we have over 150 partnerships around the world. So you can study in Toronto, but also take a course in a different country if that interests you as well. And of course, when it comes to student life, that's the fun part of university. We have over 1,000 student clubs and organizations. So anything you can think of, we have. And you want to be involved. You want to be engaged. You want to participate in these activities because number one, that's how you make friends. That's how you build your network, socialize, have fun. But at the same time, you're building your resume. You build your resume so that when you apply for grad school or for a job, you can show all of the experiences that you have. Because today, more and more employers and graduate schools, they want to know what you have done, not what you can do. So the more you're involved at university, the more friends you'll make, the more fun you'll have, but the better your resume will be as well. So hopefully this sounds good so far. now we're going to switch gears and talk about the application process and what you need to get in. So, applying to Canadian universities is very easy, especially U of T. The reason why it's so easy to apply to us, it's a two-step application process. And the first step of the application only takes about 15 minutes for students to complete. That's it. The reason it's so quick is it's a biographical application. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you want to study? Do you want residence? You answer these questions. And like I said, on average, it takes 15 minutes. This first step of the application, you cannot send transcripts. You cannot send recommendation letters. There's no essays. There's no interviews. There's no personal statements. None of that. It's just, again, a quick biographical application that is required as part of the first step in applying. So when you're on the application, if you're interested in applying to more than one U of T program, you can do that as well. And we recommend you do that as well, because remember I said at the beginning or earlier, we have 3 campuses, and you'll find a lot of the programs are offered at all 3. So for example, let's say you're interested in business. You could choose Rotman Commerce on the St. George campus, Mississauga campus for commerce, and Scarborough campus for Bachelor of Business Administration. Three different campuses, all business. If that's what you're interested in, you can do that. And if you apply to 3 choices, which you can, you're allowed to apply to up to 3 U of T choices, you will be considered for all of them. So you might get an offer to all 3, you might get an offer to 1 or 2, but there's no disadvantage to having extra U of T choices. It just increases your chance of getting an offer of admission. So the rule is 1 program per campus, or as you can see, St. George has the 5 faculties. If you were interested in 1 program from arts and science, you could choose that. And then you could choose engineering and maybe architecture as your other 2 choices. All downtown, different faculties. So 1 program per campus, or in the case of St. George, 1 program per faculty. So once you've submitted your application, you've made the payment, approximately 1 week later, you will receive an acknowledgement from the university with access to your Join portal. So this portal is where you'll be able to see your application and what documents we require. So once you log in, you create your password, you're going to see your application, and we are going to list the documents we need from you. You're also going to see that you have to self-report your grades as well. So if you're following Turkish diploma, or you're doing IB or French back, whatever curriculum you're following in Turkey, you will, in addition to having your school send the grades, because most schools in Turkey will use Parchment or Sialflo, basically your counselors know they send the grades for you electronically. But in addition to your school sending grades, you must also self-report your last 2 years of high school. So 11th and 12th grade, Turkish diploma or IB, for example, you will fill out that as well. This helps us to make offers quicker. So these are the steps that you do. As soon as you have access to the portal, you upload your transcripts to date, so 9 through 11, because that's already completed. And then you're going to send us your 12th grade mid-year report. So as soon as that's available, whether it's predicted results or mid-year transcript, you will upload that into the portal, have your counselor send that for you. So that's how the application works. Step 1, you apply. Step 2, you start sending us your grades, and you can continue to send us academic content. Now, this is very important, because I know a lot of you are wondering, well, what else can I submit other than my grades? And the answer is nothing, unless you are applying to one of these programs. So these are the only areas at the university that have a second step. So in addition to, again, the biographical application, and sending your transcripts. So only these areas will have a supplemental application where we want to learn more about you. So other than very good grades, what else have you done? So tell us about your extracurricular involvement. Tell us more about yourself, your accomplishments outside of the classroom. So I'll use Rotman Commerce and Engineering as an example. They will want to know more, like I said, about your extracurricular in the form of short essays. So there'll be a couple of essay questions that you have to answer. And then there's also a couple of video questions. So these video questions are randomly selected. You cannot prepare in advance. Once you're ready to proceed in that application, a professor or an administrator from the university will appear on your screen and ask you a question. And you only have 1 or 2 minutes to think about how you want to respond to that question. So this is the supplemental for Commerce and Engineering. They are the only ones that have essay and video components. Computer Science is just short essay questions. Architecture, short essay question as well. Music and drama auditions, of course. And then questionnaires or profiles that you would fill out for the other ones you see listed. You can also research these in advance. You can find out about the supplemental requirements, and even for engineering, as an example, they have a video online that walks you through and tells you more about what to expect when you're filling out your supplemental. Okay, so I want to remind you, only these programs are asking for more. If you're not applying to these, it's just your grades that we're interested in, so your application and sending your grades. That's it. Now, for everyone, this is important because you will also be asked for an English facility test. So we accept any of the tests that you see here. We don't have a preference. One is not better than the other. As long as you have the minimum, that will be acceptable for English facility. So for IELTS 6.5, no band below 6. That's the requirement. You just have to have the minimum score. That will satisfy the English requirement. One thing that I suggest for students, though, if you do apply, especially for Turkish students, because every year we have a problem. And the problem is that many Turkish people have, multiple names, middle name, maybe 1, 2 middle names, for example, or you have those special characters on your name. So you must be consistent when you apply. When you apply to the university, you have to use the exact same name when you write your IELTS test. So you can't miss a middle name, or you cannot drop special features of the name, or characters rather. So it's important that you're consistent. You use the exact same name when you apply and when you write the test. If you do that, there's no problem. But what's happened is some students don't. They use a different name, or a different variation of their name, and then that doesn't match. And then it requires someone in the university to take a lot of time to try and find and match your name, so your English test, to your application, right? So to avoid this, all you need to do is use the exact same name when you are signing up for tests and applying to universities. That's just a piece of advice that I share with students from Turkey. You'll also see here, if you're doing IB, you can be waived of English if you have English A, HL, or SL, or if you were doing the British system, for example, we would waive that as well. SATs do not waive the English requirement. So if you are writing the SAT, it does not satisfy English. So don't do it if you're thinking you'll do it to meet English, because it does not count. So let's recap your grade 12 timeline here and what it'll look like. So you can apply in September. That's when the application is available for you, mid to late September. There's not an exact date, but mid to late September is when it becomes available. You will be able to complete that quick 15-minute application. Like I said, it only takes 15 minutes. And we recommend you apply by November 7th. So November 7th is a recommended deadline. It's not hard or binding. It's just recommended because we have so many international students. We want to be able to assess you all as soon as possible. So recommended that you complete the 15-minute application between September and November 7th. Once you receive the email from us with our instructions, you log into your portal. Your school can send us your transcripts. So as soon as you have access, you send 9 through 11, what's already completed. Then you have to self-report your grades. You'll see the form there. It's very easy for you to fill that out. And if your program has supplemental requirements, again, only the ones that you saw, excuse me one moment. Only those areas that were on the screen a few minutes ago will ask for additional information. We will email you and tell you what we would like to see, what is required, and when it is due. So you want to have that all in by February 1st. That's the document deadline. So apply in the fall, early between September and November 7th. As soon as you have access to the portal, you upload your transcripts. And then once you get your mid-years, you upload those as well. If your program has supplemental, we give you, again, what is required and when it is due. If you're interested in residence, it's guaranteed for all first-year students. You finish your residence profile, and then decisions are made. We make rounds of offers. So beginning in December, although very few, there's not many students that will hear in December, most of the offers go out between January and April. So January, February, March, April, those are the 4 months in which most of the offers are made. So if you apply early, you submit everything early, hopefully you can hear in January, February. But again, January, February, March, April, those decisions are made on a rolling basis. So that's how the application process works, and that's your timeline for grade 12. Now, in terms of advice, so I mentioned early is best. It can only help you as far as submitting documents early and be checking your portal to make sure we have everything we need. And we'll tell you if there's something missing. And of course, you have to continue to work hard because all offers are conditional. They're conditional upon the final grades that we get in the summer. So even if you did get an offer in January or February, it's conditional upon your final grades. So you have to continue to work hard. This is very common for many schools, but we want to remind students of that. When it comes to scholarships, you are automatically considered for merit-based scholarships. There are no applications, okay? So very important scholarships to remind students, automatic consideration. So again, that means when you apply and we see your grades, if they're very good, then we will, within 1 week of making an offer, so first we will say, congratulations, you've been admitted to the university. Then about 1 week later, we send another email that says you have received, check your portal because there's an update regarding scholarships. And there you will see how much scholarship you will receive, okay? So they're very competitive at the university, but the good thing is it's automatic. So another nice way, we make it easy for students. You don't have to fill out any essays. There's no application, automatic based on your grades. Grades alone. So not extracurricular and not your financial situation. It has nothing to do with either of those. It's just based on grades.
Adam, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but we are kind of running out of time, but we will give you 15 more minutes just so you can cover the questions. Can you please quickly wrap up and move on to the questions part?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So, so this is how the scholar, and I know this is one of the questions that is going to be asked many times in the question chat. So hopefully we can, I'm spending time talking about this because I've done this a lot of times and I know how many questions or what types of questions. So again, scholarships automatic, no application based on grades alone, not your financial situation, not your extracurricular. We have one scholarship called the Lester B. Pearson. The Lester B. Pearson is a full ride scholarship. So our most prestigious award, but only 40 students, less than 40 around the world, will win this award. And only one student per school can be nominated. So this scholarship, your counselor has to nominate you, and you only one student per school. So most of the schools in Turkey know about this scholarship, the Lester B. Pearson, full ride for international students, but only one student can be nominated. If you're nominated, then you will receive the link for the application. And that application is going to be essay questions. Tell us more about yourself, your leadership, your extracurricular, your community involvement, etc. But if you don't get nominated for the Pearson, you are considered for these other awards. And we recently added more scholarships for international students, our international scholarships. So I will try and post the link where you can review those, but basically there's more opportunities, which is great. And these are renewable scholarships. So it could be $7,500, $10,000, $20,000, $25,000 a year you could receive in scholarship. So that's how these work. And the final thing I want to talk about before we get to questions is, if you come to the university, you need a study permit, but you are legally allowed to stay in the country for 3 years after you graduate. So this is a benefit of studying in Canada. You can stay after. You don't have to go home right away. If you find a job in Toronto, you can stay and work for up to 3 years. So it's a very open policy for our international students. Many find jobs and they end up staying for 3 years or perhaps more. Either way, now there's 2 countries that you can work in. So that's a big bonus. Okay, so let's get out of this and see the questions. Oh, there I am. Okay. So there's
okay.
These are most people saying hello. Hi. Yes.
Hi. So I'll help you choose the questions because there are many questions. So
Okay.
basically, there's if you can click on the questions tab on the right side of the page. Then there is something called order by. Do you see that right under the questions tab? It's like a little word by saying order by, date, upvotes, or not answered. Do you see that?
I see. Oops. I see chat questions.
Okay. Let's do this slide.
Click on the questions.
Yeah, let's do this slide because there's too many questions, right? So you cannot.
Oh, I see order by. I see it. Yes.
Okay, so click on the upvotes. Do you see that?
Okay. Upvotes. Yep.
Yeah. Then you will see the most upvoted question from Umran.
Oh. Okay. So I talked about scholarships already. So that's number 1. Number 2, we know this is one of the most successful universities in the world. If you have a statistic about acceptance rate, could you please share on average how many applications? So masters, I don't know. We focus on undergraduates, but we're the largest university in Canada. So we are in a position where we can make offers to all qualified students. So acceptance rate is difficult to tell you because we have many programs, many campuses, so it's not all the same. The most selective programs at the university are engineering, Rotman Commerce, computer science, architecture, and international co-op at Scarborough. Those 5 are the highest tier, I would say, most selected. So the acceptance rate is much smaller in those. Maybe 1 in 10 would get offers for there. Whereas other areas, it's much more greater. So to be competitive for those top tier programs I just mentioned, those 5, you need to be an A student. You have to have grades in Turkish diploma, I would say in the low 90s to be competitive. And for most other areas at the university, mid 80s and above is competitive for admission. But in terms of acceptance rate, again, big school means we can make offers to most qualified students, which is a good thing. After finishing University of Toronto, will international student have, yes, so I talked about that as well. You can stay, your study permit allows you to stay for up to 3 years and work. Is it hard to get admission? We talked about that. Scholarships, we talked about scholarships. See, I knew that's what was going to be. That's why I spent time talking about those areas. Due to the pandemic, the World Health Organization has requested universities cancel all international applications. That is false. We have admitted many international students, many from Turkey this year. So, you know, the reality is that classes in September will be a mix of in-person and online. So we're going to have basically a hybrid system. So for those that cannot make it, they will be able to study virtually, take their classes online. And hopefully by second semester, everyone will be able to be in person. But we are preparing for, depending on what happens, because we don't know, that the classes will go on virtually if necessary. And in terms of, I'm assuming this audience are future students, not admitted students, because if you're an admitted student, you should be connecting with your division that admitted you, because they will provide you with all of the updates. But for future students, hopefully by 2021, when you guys come, everything will be better and taken care of. I am not talking about masters. That is not my area of expertise. So unfortunately, you can look online, but I can tell you that U of T has the most graduate program offerings in Canada. What is the minimum GPA requirement? So again, I talked about that, and it's just, I don't talk about graduate programs. That's a different area, but for undergrad, the top most competitive programs: engineering, Rotman Commerce, architecture, computer science, international management at Scarborough. Those 5 you need to have. In Turkish diploma, I would say in the low 90s, high 80s, low 90s, but that's the range. Most other programs, mid 80s and above, is competitive for admission. What is the admission circumstance for University of Toronto foreign students? So once you're admitted, we provide you with the documentation that you can get to obtain your study permit. And once you have your study permit, you can come into Canada. And like I said, you're legally allowed to stay for up to 3 years after you graduate as well. So that's it. You need a valid passport. You need to show that you have the finances to come. And you need an offer letter that we provide, and that allows you to get your study permit. Our website also has many great frequently asked questions where you can learn more about these things once you're admitted, for example. Do the documents we earn out of school activities? So again, I spent a lot of time talking about that in the presentation. Only the areas that were listed in the presentation will ask for supplemental. If your program is not asking for supplemental, then we are not considering what you do outside of the classroom. So you will not be able to indicate your extracurriculars when you apply, unless you've applied to one of those that were listed earlier: business, engineering, computer science, etc. So unfortunately, you cannot submit those. We do not consider them your extracurricular unless we specifically ask you for a supplemental application. So someone's asking for scholarship links, so I can provide that. Let me just put that up because I know that's the top question. So the link that I'm typing in now it's called Awards Explorer, and basically this allows students to see the different scholarships we have at the undergraduate and graduate level, and whether an international student is eligible for those. So here I've posted it, I think, in the link. Please tell me if you see that. Send. There you go. Yeah, so I just posted it there. This is where you can see all the scholarship opportunities. Living conditions in Canada. So, I mean, Canada in general is a very safe, beautiful country. So Toronto, the largest city in Canada. So again, I mentioned the diversity of the city. I mentioned the weather. There's 4 seasons. Winter can get cold, so you have to be prepared for that. But that's part of the experience. If you come to study in Canada, you get to have experience the Canadian winter. But it's a safe city. It's very clean, very diverse, and there's lots of activity. It's a really amazing city for students to come and study and live. Can international students study medicine? Yes, but medical school in Canada is considered a graduate program. So you cannot do come and study medicine directly. You have to do an undergraduate degree first. So that means that you do minimum 3 years, but most likely 4 years of undergraduate study, and then you can apply to the Faculty of Medicine. So the Faculty of Medicine at U of T does accept international students, but you cannot come directly from high school. You need to do undergraduate first, and then you can apply for medical school. But you can absolutely get prepared for medical school doing sciences at U of T as your major or double major. That will prepare you, again, to study medicine or apply to medical schools in North America or back home, whatever your preference is. Which English tests are you accepting? IELTS or TOEFL? We accept either or. So I mentioned that in the presentation. IELTS or TOEFL, either one is fine. We don't have a preference. Minimum for IELTS 6.5, no band below 6. How is the adaptation process for international students? Fine. I mean, we have a Center for International Experience, so that's a place for our international students once they're here. If they need any support, we have amazing resources to ensure that, again, you're doing well, that you're comfortable. You know, there's many student clubs, including a Turkish student club, if you want that. So there's a lot of great ways that we support our international students. Yeah, I think the benefit of U of T being larger is that we have that many more resources to support you. So I think getting used to the culture, the weather, it's a little bit different, but that's part of the experience. That's what makes it fun and unique for students to come and study in Canada. If you have an undecided major, can we still get all the scholarships? Yeah, so scholarships doesn't matter what you want to study, right? The scholarships you'll be considered for automatically, and even if you're undecided, you'll still be considered for scholarships. Yes, good question. Yes, U of T offers scholarships for international students. I'll post the answer in the chat here for you again. So the link that I've just posted, again, is Awards Explorer, where you can learn about the scholarship opportunities. Can we talk about scholarships we can benefit from during graduate programs? Again, this session for me is only undergrad. I do not have training, or I cannot speak to graduate programs, only undergrad. The cost without scholarship for the year. So that, again, if you're looking it depends on what you want to study, right? So in this year for, Canadian dollars for an international students, it's like $55,000 and up. That's the tuition cost. This will be also available online, where you can see the tuition fees for the university, but it changes each year. But $55,000 and up is the average cost in Canadian dollars for tuition a year. PhD programs. How is the monthly life expense and what? So again, when it comes to PhD graduate programs, you just want to look at those. We have many, but that's not my area of expertise. So I can just tell you that we have the most selection for Canadian schools, and prices will be on the website as well. If we already studying at university, can we still be admitted to school? Yeah, if you're a transfer student, you can apply and still be considered. You could still potentially earn a scholarship as well. But most of what I was speaking to is for students from high school. Okay, do you look at for art portfolios when it comes to admission for architecture? If so, it's not a portfolio, it's called the one idea question. Again, if you Google U of T Daniels architecture, the one idea is a question that we're gonna like an essay style question. And then you can support your answer to that question by uploading 4 to 6 images of any of your designs. But it's not a portfolio. We will develop that portfolio with you once you're in the program. So yes, there is a supplemental, but it's not a portfolio that is required for architecture. What should we do to get scholarships from U of T? Again, it's really merit that we're looking for, outstanding grades, and you're automatically considered. The Lester B. Pearson Scholarship is the only one that requires a nomination with, once you're nominated, then there's an application to tell us more about yourself outside of the classroom. Okay, so just looking. If people are asking about costs for MBA, again, that is, you can easily find those things online. Because I don't know, I focus on undergrad. I can tell you what the undergraduate programs are. As far as accommodation, someone is asking, that's a question that is very important. We guarantee housing for all first-year students. So it's possible to stay in the residence after your first year as well, and many students do. We just guarantee only first year, okay? So that's the difference. You're guaranteed for your first year. Possible to stay after first year, just not guaranteed. And then we have an office to help students find housing. So if you didn't get residence for second or third year, for example, we have an office to help you find a place to live. And many students will decide to live off of campus because it can be cheaper. So if you and a few friends are splitting rent, for example, it can be cheaper than living in the residence. But we guarantee accommodation for all first year students. It's part of our residence guarantee. So I already talked about the GPA. Let's see. I can't answer PhD questions, I'm sorry. So in the applications, whether the average of all of our grades will be evaluated or the average courses. So basically, when we're considering students, it's the last 2 years of high school that we focus on primarily. Engineering is selective, so they want to see consistency throughout all 4 years. So I'd say they're probably an exception that in that regard, that they want to see you do well for all years. But they also will, the most weight is the last 2 years. For all other programs, again, as I said, it's really the last 2 years that we focus on as the basis for admission. So we want to see that you have the prerequisite subjects and you have the average that we're looking for the program you are interested in. I'm going to type this. I just so far have put in the Awards Explorer link. In terms of cost of living, conditions, food, housing, again, this is all broken down, but I can find you a couple of links. I rather answer questions in case, but I can see if I can post some links for you guys. What should we do to get a scholarship from U of T? So we've already talked about that. We do have a dentistry faculty, and it's not undergraduate. It's considered graduate. So you have to do an undergraduate degree first, and then you can apply for dentistry. Question about advanced placement for credit. So if you're doing AP or IB, you can receive transfer credit. So once we get your final grades, we will notify you if you're eligible for transfer credit in either AP or IB, for example. And when students are applying from Turkey, you indicate which curriculum. So again, for those that are doing a mix of American curriculum in Turkish or IB in Turkish, you will indicate when you apply, please consider me with my Turkish diploma, or please consider me with my IB grades. So we allow you to tell us what you would like us to consider you with. What are the names of the guidance programs used sending grades? I don't quite understand that question, but when the OUAC is the common application for Ontario, that's where you would be able to apply for undergraduate programs to the university. So OUAC, Ontario University Application Center. And again, that is available for students applying for undergraduate programs beginning this September. It will be available. You can also apply directly through our website as well. It's called the international application. The difference between the two is the cost. So it's cheaper to apply through our website, but that's only if you're interested in applying to U of T. If you want to apply to another school in Ontario, like York or Ryerson or Queens, for example, you must apply through the OUAC. So two different ways to apply. Same application, the difference is the cost. If you're only interested in us, it's a little bit cheaper to apply through us. What do we offer online programs? We certainly do. Normally we do as well, but certainly this year we'll be having many online classes due to the pandemic. I'm just going to post the FAQ in terms of the pandemic. Maybe that will be helpful for questions regarding how we are dealing with that. So bear with me. Yeah, so I'm just going to post this link in the chat now. For Lao specifically, I'll put it there. So there's an FAQ about the pandemic, and basically we're not going to disadvantage students because of what's happened with the pandemic. So whether that means, you know, your school changed their grading system, or, you know, an exam was canceled and you couldn't write it again, we're going to be considering students with what we have. So the main messaging in terms of COVID-19 for future students is that, you know, you won't be disadvantaged if something was canceled and you could not write. We will consider with what you have. So that's the main messaging. Difference between U of T and Rotman School of Management. So the Rotman School of Management is the MBA program, but at the undergraduate level, we have Rotman Commerce. So if you want to do an a Bachelor of Commerce, that's your undergraduate degree in business through Rotman. And then Rotman also has an MBA for graduate studies.
So for your participation, and we need to close the session now, but you can stay here and you can keep answering the questions in the chat box or the questions box, but by texting. But thank you so much for participating. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
No, I just, again, I apologize that I can't get to all the questions, but you will find a lot of the information online. Just do a Google search. It's the easiest thing when you look at U of T. Type your question in. You want to know about the supplemental application for U of T engineering? It's going to link you there. So just check that out. We have other opportunities for you to watch U of T specific presentations. Again, on our website, you can see when you could tune in to do to watch a presentation. We'll have those all summer and of course through the fall as well. And I apologize for those that this session is only undergrad. I do not answer PhD or master's programs because I'm not trained in that area, so I apologize. But thank you for everyone for tuning in, and I hope you found it a little bit helpful. And good luck to you all.
Thank you. Bye, Adam.
Thank you.